Ladies and gentlemen, believe me when I say that you are not prepared for this one. The streets of hip-hop are on fire, and Jim Jones, who once strutted through Harlem like a king, is now reportedly crying after hearing a bombshell so wild and outrageous that even Maury Povich would have screamed, "You are not the father." Or are you sure you heard me correctly? Chrissy Lampkin, Jim's longtime partner and reality TV Ride or Die, has been involved in the messiest scandal of the decade. Jim just learned that Chrissy has been hiding a secret child all along. The betrayal, deception, and audacity are the most shocking betrayal in hip-hop to date. Is this the last nail in the coffin for the Dipset dynasty? Most importantly, how did this even happen under Jim's nose? Grab your popcorn and buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you will make love and hip that royalty. Mr. We Fly High himself isn't flying at all right now, according to our extremely reliable, by which I mean completely shady, sources close to the situation. It looks like a Disney movie. Into his Louis Vuitton scarf? 2 words. Chrissy Lampkin. Yes, Chrissy, the woman who held him down for decades, who stuck with him through label wars, tour drama, and enough reality show fights to make us look tame. Her loyalty was supposed to be unmatched, and she literally proposed to Jim on national television in what is still one of VH1's most paused moments. According to reports from what can only be called the most chaotic court hearing since Cardi B pleaded guilty to throwing shoes at strippers, Chrissy has been hiding the biggest secret, not a side project, a dubious LLC, or even a burner Instagram account, from Jim, the world, and likely even the producers of Love and Hip Hop. I know what you're thinking, but believe me, in the same way that a man who once claimed to those in the know, who read the janitor who overheard everything while sweeping outside the courtroom, claimed that Jim was blindsided during testimony by shocking documents, alleged text message receipts, and, hold on to your wigs, a supposed paternity report that had Chrissy's name all over it. For those of you who are too young or living in a cave, bless your millennial hearts. How crazy is this? Jim and Chrissy have been the couple of chaos, from Harlem block parties to Love and Hip Hop. They essentially created the model for We're Toxic, but they made it famous through breakups, makeups, on-again, off-again drama, missed, weddings, matching tattoos, and public arguments that made fans yell, "Just marry her already." We assumed that they had survived it all. But then Cameron, also known as Killer Cam, the petty king of hip-hop, or the man who chose to put gasoline on this already blazing dumpster fire during a because. Let's face it, if Cameron is in the room, something messy is about to happen. Cameron reportedly said dramatically, pulling out an envelope like he was at the Source Awards, "I'm about to reveal why my brother Jim has been walking around thinking he was guilty," during what witnesses called the most vicious courtroom clapback in reality TV history. Cam then allegedly slid into the courtroom like a pink mink-wearing Grim Reaper and presented the receipts on Chrissy's alleged betrayal. According to our anonymous legal insider, he was living in a love story when he was actually starring in a daytime soap opera. Kudos to the court sketch artist who revealed the truth. The evidence presented purports to show that Chrissy was secretly involved with another man years ago, and that relationship resulted in a child that Jim was unaware existed. This is not just some random messy rumor, though, because the courtroom apparently erupted as if it were the BET Awards, and when someone revealed Beyoncé was pregnant again, you could hear the gasps. After the ape, Jim reportedly sank into his chair, took off his designer sunglasses, and whispered to his lawyer, "I can't believe this." They said, "And who could this be? The man who built his image on loyalty, street code, and keeping it real for him." Loyalty isn't just a word. It's his brand, his entire persona, to have his most trusted partner, his ride or die, allegedly keeping this kind of earth-shattering secret. This wasn't Twitter, was a war zone with memes, hashtags, TikToks, and think pieces from fake relationship experts who somehow earned a master's degree in Dipset drama. Chrissy's secret child trended globally within hours, and if you think the courtroom was shaken, just imagine the internet screenshots that leaked faster than Jim could wipe his tears. One Twitter user summed it up perfectly. Jim Jones discovering Chrissy has a secret child is the plot. Twist: we were unaware that we needed someone to call Mona Scott as soon as possible in 2024. While fans were busy attempting to piece together timelines and perform celebrity paternity calculations, this was before the show. According to sources, Jim vanished from public view during season 3, canceled all appearances, ducked out of a scheduled club hosting gig, and unfollowed Chrissy on Instagram, which, let's face it, is essentially filing for divorce in 2024. Meanwhile, Chrissy has remained silent. Not a single post, comment. The world is now left wondering the one question that everyone has. How the hell did Jim not know? How does a man surrounded by cameras, friends, and haters miss a secret this big? Cameron, who is usually the king of shady Instagram captions, has kept it relatively low-key. If history teaches us anything, he's just loading the next round of petty for the perfect moment. This has fueled the speculation even more because, as any good fake news investigator knows, silence implies guilt, or at least makes the story more compelling. Final betrayal. Or is there more to this story than we've been told? The judge slammed the gavel down and said sharply, "We are adjourned until tomorrow morning. Further evidence and witness testimonies will be presented." The crowd burst into stunned chatter as reporters and paparazzi rushed the courthouse steps, like untamed animals. And this is where things take a turn for the worse. Tensions were at an all-time high inside the courthouse when Jim Jones arrived with his legal team, a huge hoodie pulled over his head, sunglasses on, and a face that said, "One thing, I did not wake up for this, Chrissy." The morning after was anything but calm by sunrise, as the courthouse had turned into the hottest circus in town, with reporters, bloggers, TikTok detectives, and every shade of gossip page imaginable camped outside like sneakerheads waiting for a new Jordan drop. As the court resumed, the judge reminded the courtroom to maintain composure and warned that any outbursts would not be tolerated, which obviously meant they were too messy, too gossipy, and way too scandalous for anyone to behave. Then came the next bombshell, the prosecution, backed by anonymous sources allegedly including a bitter ex-friend and someone who described Exhibit A, which purportedly contained leaked private text messages between Chrissy and a man only identified in court. Documents as Mr. X allegedly reignited an old flame around the time Jim and Chrissy were allegedly working on wedding plans. The texts were full of cryptic flirtations, talk of secret meetings, and the now famous line that had Twitter in a frenzy. As a hairstylist who overheard it all, they presented what they called unquestionable proof of Chrissy's alleged double life. The entire courtroom gasped as the prosecution continued to reveal their so-called mountain of evidence. Next came the alleged bank records, which, according to those Chrissy had been sending large sums of money to. Jim reportedly froze, looking as though he had just been hit with a sledgehammer of betrayal. His lawyers frantically whispered, "Jim!" Cameron, who had spent the majority of the morning scrolling through his phone like he was completely bored, raised an eyebrow and said, "Jim, money each month to a private trust established in the name of a minor." The prosecution maintained that Chrissy was providing financial support for a child that Jim was unaware of, while the defense contended that the payments were for private, family matters, and charitable donations. However, the damage had already been done, and social media was already in full swing mode. Conspiracy theorists on TikTok pieced together timelines, cross-referenced old Love and Hip Hop episodes, discovered suspicious gaps in Chrissy's Instagram posts, and even compared baby photos of Mr. X to try and, as the circus raged online, Jim sat silently with no tweets, posts, or even a passive-aggressive mood meme. Some fans started posting side-by-side photos of Jim from years ago versus now with captions like, "This man has aged 15 years overnight. Prayers up." Another TikTok post boldly declared, "Look at that nose, it's genetics, babe." The comments were pure chaos, with over 2 million views in less than 8 hours. Post a boomerang of himself drinking tea with the caption, "Patience is everything." However, back in court, things were about to get even wilder when the next witness, a former friend of Chrissy's who was protected by Jane Doe status, testified that Chrissy had allegedly confided in her years ago about an accident that resulted inner child, and that she had no plans to ever tell Jim. The courtroom erupted in applause once more, and the judge struck the gavel twice. Did not assist Jane Doe, who continued by accusing Chrissy of justifying the secrecy by stating, "I couldn't risk him finding out. It would ruin everything." According to Jane, Chrissy was afraid the truth would destroy not only their relationship, but also their lucrative reality TV deals, endorsements, and public image as the ultimate hip-hop power couple. For the first time since the scandal began, Jim reportedly looked up and stared straight ahead, unblinking his face. The rumors outside the courtroom had now escalated into full-scale media storms, with tabloids screaming headlines and the baby bombshell that finally exposed Jim Jones's darkest secret. The memes were vicious. One viral hit featured Jim's famous "We Fly High" video with the caption changed to "We Cry High," while another featured Mona Scott Young with devil horns purportedly planning how to turn this into 10 new love and hip-hop songs. The courtroom was electric as reporters frantically typed notes as the judge announced that more witnesses would be heard the following day, including a potential appearance from Mr. X himself. While the public laughed at the courtroom, the defense, obviously shaken, argued that none of the evidence proved anything definitively. The alleged texts were taken out of context, the payments were charitable family support, and the witness testimony was unreliable hearsay from a former friend turned opportunist. As court adjourned, Jim stood slowly, pulled the hood back over his head, and left without speaking to anyone. Cameron followed behind, grinning as if he already knew he had one more trick up his sleeve. The world waited for Mr. X to arrive and finally reveal the truth, for Chrissy to break her silence, for Jim to even recover from this, and for fans outside to live stream in hopes of catching even a shadow of Jim or Chrissy walking in or out. As if the gods of drama were planning the final season finale, breaking news flashed across everyone's phones as the media dubbed the court date Judgment Day for Dipset. Outside, fans gathered with signs that read, "Jim, blink twice if you're okay." Another cruelly read, "Chrissy had a whole side quest, and Jim didn't even get the side mission notification." Day 3 of the trial promised to be the most explosive yet, and as the sun set over New York City, everyone's thoughts were consumed by one question. Was Jim Jones going to lose not just his relationship, but his entire legacy? There were rumors that helicopters were already airborne, security was doubled, and the internet did what it does best: make predictions, make wild accusations, post screenshots, and, of course, post memes. The world held its breath, wondering what would happen next as the cameras, reporters, fans, and fake experts prepared to swarm the courthouse once again. The sun rose over Manhattan, but the city felt darker and heavier, as if even the concrete knew what was coming. Crowds had already gathered outside the courthouse at dawn. Some people skipped work, some flew in from other states, and influencers were live streaming from the steps. On day 3 of the trial, which had been formally renamed the day Mr. Her X arrives, tickers were rehearsing their shocked facial reactions while news vans lined the block. Then, an unmarked black SUV pulled up, and the door opened, revealing a tall, sharply dressed man in a navy suit and dark glasses. The crowd gasped, wondering if this was the enigmatic Mr. X. Reporters frantically shoved microphones toward him, but he said nothing, just straightened his tie and entered the building. Jim Jones was sitting quietly in the courtroom with his attorneys by his side. His hood was gone, and his face was bare and hollow. This was not the Harlem hustler we had known, who was watching his world fall apart. A few moments later, Cameron walked in wearing a varsity jacket with a dipset and a look that said, "I live for this mess." The judge called for silence, and the last day of testimony started. Mr. X took the stand, and the gallery leaned forward as if they were Mr. X, who was about to hear the verdict of a murder trial under oath, asserted that he had known Chrissy for years, and that their relationship had once been more than just friends. The gasps came right on cue when he said that during a brief but intense affair many years ago, Chrissy became pregnant and gave birth in secret. According to him, Chrissy insisted Jim could never know, because she was afraid that disclosing the truth would ruin their relationship and her career. The courtroom sat in stunned silence as Jim Jones looked up for the first time in hours, and his eyes locked on the man who claimed to be the child's father, who had concealed, and he reportedly whispered, "I gave her everything." Mr. X then revealed what sent Twitter into a tailspin. He said that he and Chrissy had signed a private legal agreement to keep the child's name secret. Everything was concealed, including Chrissy's monthly child support payments. The court reportedly had a copy of the document, and when news broke, the crowd outside erupted as hashtags and memes about her Jim Jones trial, or Chris's secret child, Mr. X, went viral. Within seconds, one post went viral, showing Jim Jones's Dipset chain edited with the words "trust issues" rather than diplomats. Meanwhile, the defense team hurried to object, claiming the documents were unauthenticated and that Mr. X was pursuing celebrity and that everything he had said was a well-crafted lie intended to undermine a well-known couple. But by this point, the damage had been done, and the court of public opinion had already handed down its decision. During lunch, Jim left the building, surrounded by security cameras, which caught him with his head down, shoulders slumped, and Chrissy nowhere to be seen. Cameron, on the other hand, emerged eating a hot dog and waving to fans as if he were walking the red carpet. As the case resumed, the judge addressed the subject. It was officially still a civil dispute, but the shocking evidence that was presented had caught the attention of state and federal investigators, and rumors of fraud, money laundering, and unreported child support funds began to circulate like vultures. Several record labels started to withdraw from pending deals with Jim, and sponsors quietly withdrew contracts. Reality TV producers discussed whether to cancel or intensify the upcoming season, and the fallout was occurring in real time by the end of the day. Jim's lawyer asked for a 2-week emergency adjournment to review the new evidence and prepare a defense against possible criminal exposure. The judge granted it, but the headlines couldn't wait. Jim Jones, the fall of a hip-hop icon, Chrissy's child bombshell may bring down the Dipset empire. Cameron claims victory, and Jim spirals into a career crisis. Naturally, social media had its own take, with a viral TikTok dubbed Jim the new Tristan Thompson of hip-hop speculating on whether Chrissy had been playing the long game for years. Some fans demanded forgiveness, while others said that Jim was done. As the courtroom cleared, Jim reportedly stood for a few seconds before leaving alone. Cameron allegedly walked by and muttered, "Told you," whether Jim heard him or not. The most dramatic courtroom drama in recent hip-hop history ended abruptly, but the diss was released. When the store mysteriously went offline, Jim's social media remained silent. Chrissy finally broke her silence, posting a mysterious black square without a caption that only served to fuel speculation about whether it was an apology, a power move, or a farewell. Meanwhile, Cameron hosted a surprise Instagram live event called Petty Wins Again, where he concluded the stream with a final jab. At least I won't have to find out legal experts' opinions. Every blogger, podcaster, and couch detective had a yai theory about the story, which dominated headlines for weeks. Fans wondered if Jim and Chrissy would reconcile, if there was any chance to rebuild their brand, or if this would permanently disrupt not just a relationship, but an entire hip-hop legacy. As of right now, there are no definitive answers, and Chrissy is silent, remains MIA, Cam stays Cam, and the world is still glued to the mess. So, what do you think? Is Chrissy the ultimate villain? Or is there more to this story than anyone knows? Was Jim totally caught off guard? Or were there warning signs that he chose to ignore? Will Cameron ever grow weary of being the king of petty? One thing is certain, though, this is just the beginning. There will be more leaks, receipts, and courtroom drama. You don't want to miss it. Let us know what you think. We want to hear it all. If you enjoy sarcastic, explosive celebrity drama, please hit the subscribe button and enable notifications. I promise you'll want to be the first to know when the next shocking revelation comes. Thank you for watching. And until the next time, stay messy and skeptical. Keep in mind that in the world of celebrity fake news, the tea never stops brewing, and that my friends, is the messy, chaotic, jaw-dropping saga that no one saw coming. Don't get too comfortable, because this story is far from over. We want to hear your wildest theories in the comments section right now. Was Jim completely blindsided, or was he just ignoring all the signs? Is Chrissy playing some sort of next-level survival game? Is this the ultimate betrayal? Let's be honest. Is Cameron just stirring the pot for fun? Or does he have a bigger plan up his sleeve? Chrissy was shattered by Jim Jones, and he made it public. You should hit the like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell if you're as addicted to celebrity drama as we are. I promise you won't want to miss what comes next, because in the world of fake news scandals, the tea is the only tea. The secrets only grow dirtier as it gets hotter. And the drama is constantly simmering, simmering,